Okay, my darlings, this week we're talking about how to be more magnetic. This may be a little bit of a buzzword right now, along with manifest and so many other things. And there's no denying, as I'm doing the research and studying and reading and living and being, that there is a quality of magnetism energetically that is really real. And that there's a way for us to tune that up, and there's a way for us to dull that. And when we become more magnetic, we attract in people, opportunities, resources, finances. And here's where I think it's really cyclical. That's not selfish. I think we've been taught that it's selfish, or we've been taught. I could go down so many rabbit holes right now. Way back in history, there's this deep, deep root that we've been taught that to want those things or have those things or seek those things is bad or unholy or greedy. And if you look back at the history of where that teaching came from, it came from people that wanted those things instead. They wanted the money and the resources and the magnetism. And so they took it from other people. And it is not inherently greedy or unholy or selfish to want to be lit up, to attract a life that is the most beautiful, abundant, powerful, in alignment life that there is possible. And when we do that, I'm going to talk about this, it's very cyclical. The more that I am living in alignment with who I am, the more magnetic and receptive I become, the more outflow that I have too. And this is what we need in this world. All of us connected, living as our own unique version of the best self that we have, receiving insight. This isn't just about receiving material things, by the way. It's insight, wisdom, intuition, opportunity, people, connections. It's all of the things. So when we're all connected as a big, what's the word for this, you guys? It's like I just keep seeing in my mind's eye, like a fiber optic network of people that we're connecting and energetically. And so as I give and let me back up rather, as I receive and then I give, and the outflow goes to that network, to the people, to the universe. So now that we have that foundation laid, that it is okay and good, it's better than okay, it's great to want to be magnetic. So how do we become more magnetic? One, this may seem like really obvious, but when you are living in alignment, when you are living in your purpose, when you're living in your Dharma, and by purpose, I even just mean who you are to be. It's not necessarily what you're to do. There is an element that is attached to that eventually, but when you're living as authentically, that word is so overused, but you get what I mean, as in alignment with who you are at your core, and when you are unapologetic in that, even if people don't like what they see or don't agree with it, they can't help but be drawn to that and to the truth of that. So it is really, really easy and really tempting to live life from the outside in subconscious, small ways. I catch myself. Let me just say this. I grew up in an environment where I needed to be very adaptable, self-reliant, and independent from a very young age. And then I became a very young mother, and I learned how to not even necessarily be a comedian. I'm definitely not a comedian. A chameleon, but be really adaptable, right? So I could be happy in a lot of circumstances. I could be happy in a lot of situations. I could like this kind of music or that kind of music. I could live in I could live in the mountains. I could live by the ocean. And if you are that kind of person where you have either been you can call it adaptable, or maybe you're a different sort of flavor of that, and you've been a people pleaser because you were rejected when you weren't people pleasing. So you really long to fit in. When we do those things, it may even start to feel like it's the authentic self. We can convince ourselves that it's who we are because I'm happy in a lot of situations. But if you strip all of that away, if you strip all of the other people and the opinions, and you were left on like a remote island, what would you, maybe it's not an island, maybe it's a mountain, maybe it's a cityscape, but you're all alone with no one to please and nowhere to fit in. What are your preferences? What lights you up? What do you love? What are you good? What are you naturally good at doing? Maybe it's a comedian. Maybe it's making people laugh. So then you start to follow those clues. If you're like, I don't know what my Dharma is. I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what lights me up. I don't really know who I am. You start following those breadcrumbs in really little ways and just don't worry about the end. Don't worry about finding your purpose. Just start finding the things that light you up, that give you a little ping. It doesn't have to be that make you glow like a lightning bug, but maybe it's just like a little spark inside of you, like, ooh, I really love this music, or I really love this dish that I just got at this restaurant, or I like the way sundresses make me feel, or whatever it is. You just start paying attention to the little things that give you a little hit kind of like joy, I'm going to say. So when you're in alignment with who you are, when you are living in your purpose and in your beingness, when you are in your Dharma, unapologetically out there in the world or out there in your way, that is super magnetic. Number 2, in order to be magnetic, you must be receptive. And this, oh shit, you guys, I'm already at 6 minutes. This is going to be a 10-minute mini bang, okay? Receptivity is such a big thing that I find people really struggle with. This is one of the most important qualities and characteristics of the divine feminine. It is at the heart of what it means to be magnetic. If you look at Mother Earth and the womb of the earth, which is the center of the earth, it is a magnet. And if we are a reflection of nature, we at our core are magnetic. But I think we've developed all kinds of shields, kind of energetic fields around us that are keeping us from being receptive. So you can sort of shine, but you're not going to be able to receive all that you have if you have shields up and if it is hard for you to receive. And you've probably, if you followed me at all, you've heard me talk about this, but I think it bears repeating because I don't think we've ever really mastered this. But you can look at your ability to receive a compliment. That's a really easy one to look at and ask, like, if somebody says, you look really nice today, do you deflect it? Do you say, oh, this old thing? Do you say, oh gosh, but you look so beautiful? Or do you say thank you? And maybe that's step 1 is just saying thank you, but then are you actually receiving the compliment? That's the next level. Once you can just say thank you without brushing it off or dismissing it and just genuinely saying thank you, then can you actually open yourself energetically, open your heart, open your center column to just receive the love and the light that is coming through that compliment into your being. Can you receive that? Now, if you can't, that's a beautiful place to start. Can you receive help? I make it a practice when I do my best. I caught myself the other day. I was like carrying out, I've carried so many loads of things to Goodwill and donating things as we've moved and downsized. I can't believe how much stuff we've had. But somebody had offered to help put things in my trunk. And I just was like in a hurry. And I was like, oh, no, thank you. I'm fine. And I was like, damn it. That was my opportunity again to practice just like, yes, thank you. Even if I didn't need the help, that's an opportunity to practice receiving. And it was indicative to me of like, oh, my knee-jerk reaction is no thank you in that moment rather than yes, thank you. So can you receive help? Can you let somebody open the door for you? Can you let them tell you, maybe you're in grief of something right now, and they say, I'm so sorry for your loss. And you say, I'm doing okay. Because it's hard to be vulnerable, right? To receive requires an element of vulnerability that also requires you to let down those shields, to let down a guard, and I don't know all the reasons we have guards up or you have guards up and shields up. You've been probably hurt by people. You've learned from certain people that you couldn't trust them. You've felt embarrassed. You've felt rejected. You have fear of loving again because you have fear of falling again. All of that stuff. But those are your opportunities to go into that pain and go into that depth in order to uncover. Always on the other side of that is the diamond. It's the beauty. It's the beautiful thing. So if you realize that you have these shields up and that you can't receive, if you can't receive in one area, you can't receive fully in every area. I said this recently on, I can't remember where I said it, my last mini bang, I think, but we're not great at compartmentalizing because that's just not how we work. So if I can't receive a compliment, can I receive financial abundance? If I can't receive help opening the door, can I receive my partner and his love, my future partner and his love? So all of the ways that we practice in one area of life apply to all of the areas of our life. So if there is something that you're wanting to magnetize and receive, you've got to ask yourself, or you don't have to, I would recommend asking, how receptive am I? How good at receiving am I? And if I'm not, why? Without any judgment and with so much compassion, you can just ask, what's beneath that? You don't have to go, oh, I'm broken. What do I got to fix? It's just, I wonder, with curiosity, I wonder why it's difficult for me to receive help or a compliment. I wonder what's beneath that. So maybe there's an answer that you come up with and you're describing, you're journaling. What's beneath that? What's beneath that? You'll uncover some things. And as you shine the light on it, this is the truth too, as we just bring awareness and shine a light on those places that have been kind of hidden, that's where the healing and transformation shows up. So as long as it stays covered up, and we don't ever work through that. But just by bringing awareness to it, it starts to transmute and change and alchemize within you. So this last thing I'll say on this is that oftentimes the thing that we're sort of it feels uncomfortable to face, or letting that shield down, it's kind of like a boogeyman under a bed. Once we flick the light on, we realize it's not nearly as bad as we thought it was going to be. Usually that's the case. Now, if you're dealing with some serious trauma or really heavy things, I would definitely recommend getting some professional help. And maybe this is a message for you today, that if that's the case and you've been not facing that, this is your opportunity to do that too. Okay, so are you open? Are you an open channel to receiving? There is a spiritual law of success from Deepak Chopra's book, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, and it is called the Law of Giving. And so I'm going to read just a couple of sentences from that book for you. The word affluence comes from the word afflure, I think that's how you say it, which means to flow to. The word affluence means to flow in abundance. And he's talking about the currency and money, but he goes on, just aside from money, he says, like a river, money must keep flowing, otherwise it begins to stagnate, to clog, to suffocate, and to strangle its very own life force. Circulation keeps it alive and vital. Every relationship is one of give and take. Giving engenders receiving, and receiving engenders giving. What goes up must come down. What goes out must come back in. In reality, receiving is the same thing as giving, because giving and receiving are different aspects of the flow of energy in the universe. If you stop the flow of either, you interfere with nature's intelligence. It is, and then he goes on to talk about, this is really important too. It is the intention behind your giving and receiving that is the most important thing. The intention should always be to create happiness for the giver and receiver, because happiness is life supporting and life sustaining and therefore generates increase. This is huge. If you're giving so that you can receive as a form of manipulation, and I'm sure that I've done that I'm sure I've done that in terms of like, let me give this thing and see if I can get something back in a manipulative way. I know I've been on the other end of it where somebody has given me a quote unquote gift and I know that they're looking for something in return. And that just does not feel great. And it is not in line with how nature works. When our motivation and intention, and this also requires that sense of openness, when we give from a center, from a groundedness, from an earthy groundedness, and our giving comes out of an overflow of internal abundance and a desire to make other people feel happy, that's when we receive the same back. That is that natural, beautiful, in nature, natural kind of flow. So that's the channel, that's the open channel. So to be magnetic, you have to be receptive, but then also this other side of the loop to that is that open channel. Okay, the last thing that I want to say about receiving is, have you asked? This morning, there's a word we talk about called attunement, and I am doing what I can to stay attuned, which means to vibrate like at a high frequency, to sort of be grounded, to be embodied, to be in alignment with my center. And there are times when I just feel off kilter, or I feel tired, or I don't feel this well of abundance in me. That has become more normal for me, thankfully, and it's taken time to get to that sort of state of being most of the time. So when I don't feel it, I feel really off. And this morning I just was like, oh, what do I need to do? So I'm reading a book and I'm kind of doing some breathing and I'm doing the things. I'm doing, right? I'm going to emphasize the word do. And I was reminded, like always, again and again, that the center of love is always in the center. It is always there. The well is always there. We're always connected to that source. And I'm going to come back to that magnetic womb of the earth. I was kind of guided this morning towards a visualization of really rooting my feet down and rooting my root down from the crown of my head to my sort of tailbone, rooting roots into the earth and then receiving up from the earth. And was reminded that source is always there. And then I just was prompted to journal and scribe, and it was really short and sweet, which is usually it's like 3 pages. This was like 2 sentences. I don't believe this is just for me. I believe this is for you too, and you can fill in the blank. This morning, I was needing that spark. I was seeking that rest and that attunement, and just feeling a little off. It's been a long week of moving and unpacking and a lot, just reminded that my stability is found in my own center, not in all of the movement around me. And so I was looking for some of that grounded sort of spark. Now, whatever you're looking for, whatever you want to receive, whatever you want to magnetize, you fill that in this blank here. So when you are tired, or fill in the blank, when your spirit is weary, go to your knees and rest. Ask to be poured down upon. You only need to ask. The power of your words bring transformation and attunement. Yes, love, go now. And that's what I did. And I'll say this too, you guys. I have even shied away from using the word prayer in a long time because of what it meant to me for so many years. But whatever you believe in, there is the ability to just ask and receive and know that our desire is beautiful, our openness, sometimes it's hard to ask. It's easier to sometimes ask the universe for something than it is to ask a person. That's the other third component of receiving. It's giving, receiving, and I'm adding in asking. Have you asked? Have you spoken with your words that you believe that it is possible, that you are worthy, that it is there for you, that there is an abundance of that thing that you're seeking? If it's in alignment, if it's a good intention, if it's natural in nature, if it's in your heart, if you know that that's true, then have you asked? And if not, what does it look like in your own way to just open yourself up, humble yourself, and say, I'm asking right now for a spark, for attunement, for energy, for love, for whatever it is. And I keep saying this is the last thing, but this is the last thing. All of the things that we're also seeking, we can ask to become more of that. So if I am seeking love, or if I'm seeking abundance, how can I, in myself, in my core, become love? How can I become abundance? That really brings this full circle to magnetism, because I don't know all of the laws behind it, but the law of attraction, and this is another one out there. What we put out there, we tend to attract back because of how energy works. Like attracts like. So everything that you're asking to receive, I would also recommend that you put the mirror, turn it around back on you and say, am I those things? If I want somebody to be forgiving of me, am I forgiving? Am I fill in the blank? All right. Oh, geez, I'm horrible at mini bangs. I'm going to quit saying that. It just is what it is, okay? It is what it is. I have love for all of you. I haven't done this before, but I'm going to do this today. I just want to offer like a blessing for you. For all of you that are listening today, as you right now, whether your eyes are open or closed, just take a deep breath in. And I'm just giving thanks for who you are, for where you're at in life, for the fact that you are tuning into this podcast today, for all of the things that your heart desires. I am asking for you that they move in alignment with your purpose, with your calling, with your Dharma, that where you're seeking clarity, that you will gain it, that where you have confusion, it will dissipate and move away, that you will find your grounding deep in the core of the earth and identify with that in the center of your body, that you will be open to the infusion of light and love within you, and that as you do that, you magnetize your purpose, your people, your pathway, all of the things in front of you, that your destiny is a breath away. It's right here. It's right now. And everything that you're looking to be more magnetic for, I ask for you that you are able to embody that so that you can live your life's purpose in full alignment. Whew. All right, loves. Have a bang week.